Okay, so thanks for plugging in to the Veteran PCS resources page. I'm here with Jeff Wyttenbach. He's a lender, Navy vet out in California, and here to talk about the Certificate of Eligibility, what it is, how to find it, what it means when you actually get it, and how to understand what that sheet says. So, Jeff, you want to give a little bit about just your background with the military and with being a mortgage?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jason. Hey, Jeff Wyttenbach with Vision Financial Group here in Ventura, California, powered by U Mortgage. Kind of background about myself: did 20 years in the CBs here in Port Hueneme, Ventura area. Did a lot of cool stuff with them. So if you're not familiar with CBs, just kind of construction battalion in the Navy. So we're kind of the little bastard childs of the Navy that didn't deploy on ships. So a little different, when it comes to the military and being in the Navy, a little something different. How I got into lending, I did the skill bridge program, which a lot of vets are familiar with right now. So did the 6-month skill bridge program, and then was able to come on with a mortgage broker and then get my license that route. And then kind of the rest is history. I've been doing this about a year and a half now. So been up and running. Very what I found is when I was doing it is very sort of getting very passionate about the VA loan and knowing, the ins and outs of it, and realizing a lot of veterans are plain getting ripped off, and a lot of fraud and misinformation around there. And then just getting good at reading the VA handbook and knowing the guidelines. That's where kind of like my specialty fell in. And then to me, being a veteran myself and being in the military 20 years so long, just very, very passionate about it. So love to discuss more about the COE and how to review it and where to find it and go from there. So,
right. So the COE is needed. So anybody that's wanting to use the VA loan has to have the COE.
Has to have the very first thing I check. So, I get your application, start the mortgage process. Very first thing I ask is, are you a vet, or you interested in the VA home loan? And then I pull your COE automatically. So with your permission, of course. So if you don't have it, we're going to show you a couple ways to pull it, but exactly what I do.
Okay, so great. So, and if somebody wants to obtain this, or if they are a first-time home buyer using the VA loan for the first time, they just go to it's ebenefits.va.gov, and they can type in COE in the search bar, and that's where you can apply for this COE letter.
You can pull it yourself on va.gov, or you can call the VA. I have the number for you. They are very responsive. It'll probably take less than about 10 minutes, and they can email to you. Or a lender. A lot of lenders have the ability to pull the COE. I do myself. It takes less than 10 minutes to pull your COE, and then we can go from there. So the very first thing is, do you qualify for the VA home loan? So not everybody qualifies with being in the military, and there's a whole breakdown of any active duty service member that does over 180 days is going to qualify. It gets tricky when it comes to National Guard and reservists. The last couple of years, how much they deployed and how many points they have to qualify. So that's a whole breakdown. But that's what the COE will show down. Will show exactly what you qualify for.
Okay, great. So once they get this COE, they either pull it themselves, or the lender that they're working with, like you, can pull this. We've got an example of a COE here. And then can you just help us understand, when they do get this, either in email or in mail, what are they looking at with this Certificate of Eligibility?
So it's got all your personal information, who you are, what branch of service you are. This is mine personally. So if you look at it, has my loan number, and then the loan I'm currently on right now, and then the entitlement charge. So that's how much entitlement I use, the 101,894, and I can break that down further. But most of the time, if you haven't used a VA benefit at all and you pull the COE, all this is the loan, all that's going to be blank, and the vendor's basic entitlement will be $36,000. All right, and then I'm going to explain more to that. Other thing I look for the COE, what's important, if you scroll down a little bit, Jason, it's going to show you refinance, if you did anything with the loan, and then most importantly, the funding fee right there. So if any disability is entitled to a veteran with the funding fee, right, the funding fee is going to be waived. So that's crucial when it comes to lending. and talk more about the funding fee. So as you know, there's no down payment with the VA loan, but there is a funding fee. So the funding fee is 2.4% of the loan amount that gets tacked on the loan. So if you have 10% of disability, that gets waived. So it's important to look at these COEs, talk to the veteran that your funding fee is going to get waived. So if you're going to use it for the first time use.
So if somebody's going through the transition and they're waiting on their VA disability rating, once they get a rating 10% or higher, does it automatically update on the COE, or do they need to call the VA to make sure that it's on here?
Nothing's perfect in this world. So if it's not there and you do have your disability rating, it is easier to get it once you do get a disability rating. Okay. So not all the time it will be on there. Most of the time it is pretty good. They do talk to each other, but it is, if you do have the same area on the e-benefits, you can pull your disability and then pull your your COE, and then we can have them talk to each other. It's pretty easy to do once you get your disability. So just something to think about too is education, right? So if you're in the service and you're retiring, separating in 6 months, maybe you should wait to use your VA benefit till you get your your disability claim to waive that funding fee if that's important to you.
Right.
So,
okay. So when they are looking at this, so let's say, if they're a first-time home buyer, again, using the VA loan for the first time, this will be blank. And then what was the 36,000 amount that you were talking about?
So right there where it says the veteran's basic entitlement is 0, right? That would be 36,000.
Got it. Okay. It's right here.
So all that'd be blank, and then it would just say veterans basic entitlement, and it'd be 36,000. So the total entitlement charge of previous loan is 101,894. So that's how much entitlement I used. So,
okay, so 36,000. What does that mean for a veteran that's looking to purchase a house?
That is basically that is VA monkey math. That is just how they do it. I don't have a good explanation on that. It's just 36,000 of where they came up with that number.
Okay.
So,
but there's no, as far as limits on the VA loan and anything like that, can you just talk briefly about?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. Get that at least once a week, right? So it was the Blue Water Act about 2 years ago of January 20, right? That there is no cap for the VA loan, right? So there used to be a cap of the county loan limit of 645. It was like 645 some change. Now there's no cap. So basically, if a veteran qualifies for the mortgage, right, ability to repay, there's no cap. So I've done a $1.4 million VA loan. I've done a 1.1. I've done a 1.3. So there is no cap, right? So if you qualify for the loan and you're going to use your VA, you can absolutely use your VA benefit.
Okay, so once they use it, kind of like what you've had here, it'll show their amount of their entitlement that they have used. And then how do they, let's say if they're wanting to if they're PCSing and they are on a VA loan with their current house, they want to use their VA loan and they're moving somewhere, how do they go about that and know how to do that?
All right, so there a little bit of math around. I got this perfect scenario right now that I'm dealing with. A couple bought a house in Virginia, has a home, a VA loan in Virginia, moved to Wanimi here, got stationed here for 3 years, and they're moving to Florida and they want to purchase a new house in Florida, right? Using their VA benefit. Can they do that? So yes, absolutely, right? So they have their VA home in Virginia, and then their Florida home in Tampa Bay is going to be their primary residence. So you need to find out how much entitlement they have left. So if this was the person, if I was moving to Florida right now, how much entitlement I would have left. So very first thing you would have to do is know the county loan limit or the conforming loan. So that's 715,000, and then you divide that by 4, right? And then that would give you 178,750, right? So you take that number and then subtract what entitlement you have, right? So after that, I only have 76,856 and some change. And then you times that by 4, and then that gives you, I'm entitled to 307,426,000 left in entitlement left. So if I was moving to Florida right now with my family, I could shop for a house around 300K to purchase a home. And then so here's another thing, if you want to go over that, say I'm looking at a $500,000 house, you would have to come up with the 25% down of the difference of the 200K. So it's not the whole loan amount. So it does get a little cheaper if you do want to use your entitlement more.
Okay, and that's if they keep their current residence on their VA loan and they're just wanting to use the entitlement they have left.
So if you want to use the remaining entitlement, that's the way to do it. It is like monkey math, and somebody does need to sit down with you and explain how much entitlement you have left, right? And double check this,
Yeah.
right? And get you pre-approved to make sure everything lines up correctly. And if you do, to get your full entitlement back, if you want to sell the property that you have now. So that Virginia home, if you just want to sell that, right, and get rid of it, you'll have full entitlement again. If you want to refinance that property, so you have your property in Virginia, you want to do a cash out refi to move it to conventional, right? You can do that, and then you use your one-time restoration to use your full entitlement again, because you already used your VA entitlement once. So, and then you already have a property in a conventional loan, so you can use your one-time restoration to bring that property to use your full entitlement again.
Okay, yeah, because that's a common question that comes up with the certificate of eligibility. Yeah. As people PCS several times, if they want to keep rental properties and continue to use your VA loan, what are some considerations they have to have if they want to acquire 2, 3, 4 rental properties over their, let's say a 20-year career in the military?
Just talk to if you want to keep doing it, it's just how it is possible, just what type of loan it is. So if you keep doing conventionals, at some point the lenders are gonna stop you, and the VA is gonna stop you, because you're basically they don't want you to use it as an investment purposes. So it has to be a primary residence, which you're doing. But if you keep doing the cash out refis and kind of moving around the country, right, they're gonna stop it at some point. So that's where the one-time restoration is. So before you do it, make sure you talk to a lender, make sure you still qualify for your VA loan benefit. Again, if they're going to do it, if you do a cash out refi to retroact your benefit again.
Okay, and just to kind of close it out, that's really the main part of this. All this math, everything. This is kind of a quick overview of what this certificate of eligibility is and your entitlement. Again, the math and figuring this out and strategizing. Best way to do that is with somebody like yourself that's a loan officer, where you can actually call you, talk to you on the phone, or get on a Zoom call. Again, you're featured on veteranpcs.com on the California page, all the way down at the bottom where the mortgage lenders are. And that's free to use. It's free to get in contact. It's a free resource to get in contact with people like you, so that people can strategize, they can talk through before they just start making decisions or start putting offers on houses or something like that. Talking to a good lender to understand their situation for them specifically, how they can go about it, and what's right for them and their family. Does that sound right?
Absolutely. So.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll link you in here. If people have other details, they can find you again, veteranpcs.com, California page, and we'll put a get in touch link in the show notes for this one. And yeah, hopefully this helped. And yeah, looking forward to doing more videos. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, for sure. I love it.